वेलकम बैक ऑन द आवारा मुसाफिर शो। दोस्तों, जब भी मैं हिस्ट्री की बात करता हूँ, जब भी मैं इंडिया के इतिहास की बात करता हूँ, तो एक नाम है जो हमेशा मेरे लिए ना एक अलग ही कॉन्वर्जेशन स्ट्राइक करता है, एक अलग ही मुझे सोच में डाल देता है। वो नाम है छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज का। क्योंकि जब भी मैं इनका नाम सुनता हूँ, इनकी स्टोरीज़ के बारे में सुनता हूँ, पढ़ता हूँ, मुझे ऐसा फील होता है कि ये इंसान उस टाइम से बहुत आगे था। छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज एक विजनरी थे। इन्होंने कई सारे काम किए, बट उसमें सबसे बड़ा जो काम था वो था नेवी की जो खासियत है उसके बारे में जानना और नेवी को अपने मिलिट्री सिस्टम में अडॉप्ट करना। वहाँ से ही एक तरह से हम कह सकते हैं शायद इंडिया के मिलिट्री और नेवल जो इतिहास है उसकी शुरुआत हुई थी, एक प्रोग्रेसिव शुरुआत हुई थी। फिर उसके बाद में जो देशमुखी सिस्टम था, विच इज़ की ज़मींदारी सिस्टम था, उसका अबॉलिशमेंट। जब भी मैं बात करता हूँ छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की, उनकी स्टोरीज पढ़ता हूँ, मेरे कुछ मेंटोर्स हैं उनसे बात करता हूँ उनके बारे में, या जो कुछ हिस्टोरियंस हैं जिनसे मैं बात करता हूँ, तो मुझे पता चलता है कि छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज ने कई सारे ऐसे काम किए थे जो शायद आज भी लोग ना कर सके। वो मुगलों के खिलाफ थे, और उसमें भी खासकर वो मुगलों के अत्याचार के खिलाफ थे, वो इस्लाम के खिलाफ नहीं थे। उनके लिए वॉर ऑफ रिलीजन एक तौर से रिलीजन की लड़ाई नहीं थी, उनके लिए स्वराज्य एक ऐसा तरीका था जिससे वो भारत में भारतीयों का राज वापस से स्थापित कर सके। उनकी लड़ाई अत्याचार के साथ थी, ना कि किसी रिलीजन के साथ, ना कि किसी एक ह्यूमन बीइंग के साथ। आज इस एपिसोड में हम बात कर रहे हैं अनीश गोखले से, जो कि मराठा हिस्ट्री के ऊपर एक एक्सपर्ट है, और उन्होंने कई सारी किताबें भी लिखी है मराठा हिस्ट्री पे, मराठा वॉर्स पे। आज का एपिसोड खास तौर पे हमने बेस किया है शिवाजी महाराज पे, उनकी लाइफ के बारे में, स्पेशली अफजल खान को जो उन्होंने मारा था, तो उस पूरे इवेंट के नुआंसेस क्या थे उसके बारे में आज के एपिसोड में आपको जानने मिलेगा। छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज क्यों एक विजनरी थे। इस एपिसोड को हमने बहुत शॉर्ट रखने की कोशिश की है। हमने रिकॉर्ड तो इसे बहुत लंबे इसमें किया था, क्योंकि ये कॉन्वर्सेशन इतना ज़्यादा हैवी है कि हमने सोचा वाई नॉट क्रिएट मल्टीपल एपिसोड्स आउट ऑफ दिस, तो लोगों को देखने में भी मज़ा आएगा और जानने को भी बहुत कुछ मिलेगा। सो प्लीज़ गो अहेड, वॉच दिस एपिसोड टिल द एंड, और द आवारा मुसाफिर शो पे अगर आप नए हैं तो सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना। So, Anish, I think so. Like a lot of people know about what happens between Afzal Khan and Chhatrapati Shivaji, but a lot of people don't know, little bit of nuances of that whole meeting and how Chhatrapati Shivaji kills Afzal Khan. So, जिनको नहीं पता है उनके लिए आप वो बता सकते हो क्या हुआ था exactly?
Yeah. So this is one of the most important battles of Chhatrapati Shivaji's life.
Yeah.
In fact, the first real challenge that he faces. I think I covered it in that book, Battles of Maratha Empire, in quite some detail. And it is not just about strategy, but it's also about the mental strength of Chhatrapati Shivaji that comes through in this battle.
Right.
You'll find that Afzal Khan is himself a very astute military commander. He starts from Bijapur, and via the Pandharpur route he heads towards Satara. Okay, so this Pandharpur is about 2 hours from Pune on the Solapur route, and Satara is another about 1 hour from Pune,
Right.
in a different direction. What he tries to do, Afzal Khan, is that he tries to draw Chhatrapati Shivaji out from his fortress, which is at Rajgarh near Pune. He's at Rajgarh near Pune. Afzal Khan tries to draw him out from there and make him face battle in the open field towards the east of Pune. If you go east from Pune, you'll find the terrain is more or less easy. Not as hilly or as filled with ravines as to the west and south of Pune, which is completely hilly towards the coastline. Towards the east of Pune, you find it is more or less easy terrain for cavalry and all this. Afzal Khan desecrates the temple at Pandharpur. He extracts tribute from Tuzapur and Ravalnath temples also. Then he sends 3,000 of his troops from the Baramati side towards Pune, so that all that area gets ravaged by his troops. His aim is to draw Chhatrapati Shivaji out for a battle and kill him in an open field. But it is, and for this he is destroying temples and trying to incite the Marathas. Chhatrapati Shivaji stays put at Rajgarh, doesn't move from there.
Right.
So this is one kind of aspect we see from this. Then the more important aspect is the selection of fort, that is Pratapgarh, for the battle. In this we see that Chhatrapati Shivaji wants to fight at the border of his territory, that is at that point of time at Pratapgarh.
Correct.
So this is also find that the acumen is about taking the fight into the enemy's territories.
Right.
He selects Pratapgarh because it is a new fort. So everything you find in the entire campaign, which way to move, when to move, which fort to select, there is also a timer on this campaign. Not as if that there is. Most of the campaigns are unlimited time.
Right.
There is that, it can take 6 months, 8 months, 12 months,
Correct,
2 years,
correct.
4 years. There is no saying in history as to how much a campaign is going to last. But in the case of the Pratapgarh campaign, you find that Aurangzeb finds out that this thing is happening in the Deccan, and
Yeah.
he sends a khillat, a robe of honor for Chhatrapati Shivaji.
Oh wow.
So this is what is happening, that Aurangzeb sends a robe of honor for Chhatrapati Shivaji, and it is something that both of them come to find out by whatever spies they have in the north,
Right.
that the Mughals have sent. Now the problem is that till the time Afzal Khan is killed, Chhatrapati Shivaji looked upon as a useful person by both the parties, Adil Shah and the Mughals.
Right.
So that the Mughals are thinking this is a person we can use against Adil Shah and we can keep ourselves clear because we are not
Right.
doing anything.
Right,
And Adil
right,
Shah is
right.
also thinking in the same way. So this khillat is sent for Chhatrapati Shivaji from the north, and both of them want to know it. Now the thing is that if it reaches and the Mughals get involved, it totally changes the dynamics of the whole equation, because
Correct.
now you have the Mughal army getting involved. If they support Chhatrapati Shivaji and Afzal Khan get defeated, then obviously Aurangzeb is going to say that Shivaji Maharaj is now indebted to me for
Right.
this success. If the Mughals at the last moment decide to change their opinion and go with Afzal Khan instead, then against Afzal Khan and Mughals combined, Chhatrapati Shivaji is no competition. So this campaign, because of the khillat that has left Delhi, has assumed a timer on it for 3 or 4 months. So whatever has to
Right.
be done has to be done within 3 or 4 months, because neither Afzal Khan nor Chhatrapati Shivaji want the Mughals involved in this conflict. It is like the bull in the china shop, which nobody wants.
Right.
So knowing that there is a timer attached to it, the campaign goes ahead. And the entire time the campaign is going on, this ticking clock is always there
Correct.
for Chhatrapati Shivaji. Plus we find that the routes, that Afzal Khan has a lot of the routes in his hands. He has the seaboard in his hand. Shivaji Maharaj only has the communication line between Rajgarh and Pratapgarh in his hands.
Right.
In the midst of all this, where all the troops are being disposition and all the planning is going on, Shivaji Maharaj loses his queen, Sahibai. So there is a huge mental pressure also on him. I mean, you cannot be in a mental state to fight
Yeah.
against your arch enemy when you have lost your wife. But even then, he displays mental fortitude sufficient for going ahead with this. So all the qualities of Chhatrapati Shivaji come through as a person, as a diplomat, as a warrior, obviously.
Right.
And the whole Pratapgarh campaign is unfortunately reduced to only the killing of Afzal Khan. But if we take the entire year,
महाराजानं पोटामंदी पिचवा ठेकेला पोटामंदी पिचवा ठेकेला वाघ नखाचा मारा केला वाघ नखाचा मारा केला टरा टरा फडलं पोटाला टळा गेला खानाचा कोटळा भाई रे.
the whole of 1659 in the campaign and the year following 1659, we can truly appreciate the personality of Shivaji Maharaj.
Right, right. I was doing this one episode with Medha Deshmukh Bhaskaran, and she has been studying the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji, Chhatrapati Sambhaji, and for that matter, life of Aurangzeb as well for past 20 years. And she told me this one really interesting thing, that was Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He was not just a statesman or an administrator, he was a great warrior as well. But one good quality of his was he was a visionary. Like whatever decisions he was taking for 100 years maybe. So we can see, the reorganization of the military, the abolishment of Sardesai or Deshmukhi, if I'm not wrong. So how do you conclude this personality of Shivaji Maharaj, where he can take such decisions, take such huge steps?
So, one of the genius of Chhatrapati Shivaji is in recognizing problems in a working system. Okay. It is easy to recognize problems in a dysfunctional system,
right?
Broken ones. But the Mughal Mansabdari system, for example, Shivaji Maharaj did not want to copy that. Although it had been successful running an empire, is that he didn't want to copy that because he found out that there is no concept of unity or national pride in this. Mansabdari system was a kind of divide and rule, which Akbar had instituted so that he would not have to fight against all these people.
Right.
And he could in turn build his own empire.
Correct.
The entire Mansabdari system was built on a dog-eat-dog principle, where all Mansabdars competed against each other for the betterment of their own Mansabs. So, a 2,000 Mansabdar will always be aspiring for 3,000,
right,
always for 5,000. And this was all fine as long as there was a strong central power like the Mughal emperor, who could, on his own personal will, decide who was to get what Mansab, and this worked fine for that moment.
Correct. The
moment it got challenged, as in the time of Aurangzeb, it all fell apart. There was no concept of holding up the Mughal empire. Like the way the Marathas fought for their Swarajya in the absence of their king because of their ideal. That ideal was missing on the Mughal side, which is why it fell apart.
Right.
So what Chhatrapati Shivaji achieved is that he had made the ideal supreme. He had not made himself supreme or the kingdom. He had made an ideal of Swarajya supreme.
Wow.
Then some of the changes into the army, he had salaried armies. Payments in terms of land were stopped.
Right.
Mansabdari system was based on Mansab, horses, and also land. That they would more and more campaigns were taken up to advertise more and more land.
Yeah.
On the contrary, Chhatrapati Shivaji had a concept of salaried armies, where the state treasury would pay them a fixed amount monthly as a payment.
Right.
This stopped their being landlords. And when the Mughal Empire fell apart, all kinds of Nawabs and Nizams appeared and all kinds of various landlords appeared because that is what they had been paid in. In the case of Marathas also this happened at a later stage, but that was because of the changed circumstances. When Shivaji Maharaj instituted it, it was a salaried army with a chain of command with monthly payments, awards being given for whatever bravery being shown on the battlefield.
Right.
The professionalism that was displayed or that was put together by Chhatrapati Shivaji, even instituted dress codes for his army. That professionalism was not matched till the East India Company came with its British army and created what is the modern Indian army.
Yeah.
So we can see as to how forward-looking Chhatrapati Shivaji was, that in the 17th century, when everything was about feudalism and land, he was thinking in terms of salary and chain of command and modern professional forces.
Right. So and that's why I admire Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj more than anyone else from the history of Hindustan maybe, is because he was not just ruling a sort of a nation. He was trying to win over the people. He was trying to build a better narrative for them, and he was trying to reach to a point where he is not the looked up to as a king or something. He was promoting the idea of Swarajya more than himself. So that's the best quality about him. तो दोस्तों देखा आपने किस तरह से शिवाजी महाराज ने पहले तो अफजल खान को मारा और किस चालाकी के साथ वो भी, वहां से उनकी एक तरह से हम कह सकते हैं एक लार्जर नैरेटिव की शुरुआत। शिवाजी महाराज को जब हम आज याद करते हैं तो हम बहुत सारे कारणों की वजह से याद करते हैं, पर मैं उन्हें सिर्फ एक चीज की वजह से याद करता हूँ, वो चीज ये थी कि उन्होंने भारतवर्ष को एक साथ लाने की जो मुहिम चालू की थी वो शायद और कोई नहीं कर सकता था। उस टाइम पे सिर्फ छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज थे जो कि भारत को यूनाइट कर सकते थे, और उन्होंने उस यूनिटी का जो सीड था वो स्वराज्य में कहीं ना कहीं बो दिया था। और छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की मृत्यु के बाद हम देखते हैं कि छत्रपति संभाजी महाराज काफी टाइम तक मराठाओं के साथ में लड़ते हैं मुगलों के खिलाफ। उसके बाद में छत्रपति राजाराम, ताराबाई, कई सारे ऐसे नाम आते हैं जो कि भारत के लिए, हमारी यूनिटी के लिए लड़ते हैं। हमें इन सब हीरोज को हमेशा याद रखना चाहिए। सैडली आज हमारे हिस्ट्री बुक्स में इनके बारे में ज्यादा बातें नहीं होती, उसके कुछ अलग रीजंस है, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट डिबेट। पर क्या हम अपनी तरफ से ये कोशिश नहीं कर सकते इन्हें याद रखने की? क्या हम इनके बारे में किताबें नहीं पढ़ सकते? क्या हम इनकी स्टोरीज नहीं पढ़ सकते? क्या हम हमारे घर में हमारे जो छोटे बच्चे हैं उन्हें इनकी स्टोरीज नहीं बता सकते खुद? तो दोस्तों, अगर आपको द आवारा मुसाफिर शो का ये एपिसोड पसंद आया और आप चाहते हैं कि छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की जो कहानी है उसका एक छोटा सा जो अंश है ये काफी लोगों तक पहुंचे, तो इस एपिसोड को शेयर करिएगा। कमेंट्स में हमें जरूर बताइएगा कि आपको ये एपिसोड कितना अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि जब आपके कमेंट्स हमें मिलते हैं तो हमें पहली बात तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है, और दूसरी बात आपकी कमेंट्स की वजह से हमें पता चलता है कि फ्यूचर में हमें किस तरह के एपिसोड बनाने हैं। तो कमेंट करना, लाइक करना, शेयर करना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना अगर अब तक नहीं किया है तो, अपने फ्रेंड्स, फैमिली, गर्लफ्रेंड, बॉयफ्रेंड सबको कहना कि शेयर करो। और या दिस इज द न्यू एपिसोड ऑफ द आवारा मुसाफिर शो। मिलते हैं आपसे अगले एपिसोड में एक नई कहानी के साथ, एक नए एडवेंचर के साथ।